The best way to play Tears of the Kingdom is on the Zelda Nintendo Switch OLED, so subscribe and click the link in the description for our giveaway. Hello there, Commonwealth Rom. With Tears of the Kingdom out, it is time to put our imagination and vehicle engineering skills to the test. But are there ways we can make the experience more enjoyable, or seamless for that matter, both in game and real life? The answer is yes. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell as we're going for 2023 likes. Pro HUD mode. One of the greatest tools we had in Breath of the Wild to get rid of the filled with text HUD or heads-up display is back. Much like other features which we will soon go over, this one has been greatly improved, since in Breath of the Wild the view of Hyrule was still blocked by Link's heart container, which was a source of endless frustration, most of all for content creation when we wanted to tell a story and had to enlarge and hence reduce the quality of the footage captured. Now we have a clean view with only Link and the surroundings, whether that is in Hyrule, the Sky Islands above, and so on. This mode is perfection, but why play Tears on a screen when you can have it straight on your nose? Well, on Earth, we can play with VITURE's praised by Time magazine and others gaming XR glasses specifically designed for Nintendo Switch and Tears of the Kingdom's Pro HUD mode. No TV required, and without obstructing anyone, you get a 120-inch display. But just like with the possibilities in the game, with these glasses there are just so many more options, including brightness settings, color correction and adjustable diopter if you wear glasses. Plus you can play with this baby and its combined dock/power bank both inside and outside. Finally, you don't interrupt anyone with your gameplay, especially outdoor. More on it soon, but just know that by clicking the link in the pinned comment or description you get a 10% discount. Now back to Hyrule. Since one thing is seeing, the other is hearing, and Tears of the Kingdom has proper language voice settings. Most of us will naturally play with English voice acting, but the problem is that this one can be a little shaky at times. Luckily, this time on launch day and in our first playthrough, we can listen to exactly what we want, and switch whenever it fits us. Whether it's in original Japanese, which was also directed by the Zelda team themselves, or German Ganondorf. Yes, he's pretty terrifying.
Die es wagen, sich euch in den Weg zu stellen. Tötet alle und jeden!
Here you have your options for your first, second and third playthrough, or all combined. No doubt we will need a lot of what we have in our inventory against this menace, so let's duplicate. We have 3 methods so far, and the final one is by far easiest. Just jump from a platform by pressing X, then X again to launch the paraglider, then immediately pause mid-air. Select the item you want to duplicate, up to 5, and then press the Y and B button simultaneously. If timed correctly, Link will drop said item without depleting the ones he has in his inventory. In other words, get some free ones. And this one can be repeated without any fear of losing anything with no end. Be warned to not overuse it though, or the game will become too easy, but it is a real time saver. Speaking of Japan and outdoors, I have Hyrule with you in undock mode or on the VITURE XR glasses. There are just so many options even for the most urban of us, including when we fly, take a train or a bus, and even sitting on a bench or on grass. Personally, I recreated Hyrule by visiting Mabber Ranch ruins while I sit on this bench next to my local stable, heading into a forest in-game. Well, so did I. How about climbing up a mountain? Well, I guess this hill will do. And look, I even have red bricked apartment blocks to mirror Death Mountain. Joking aside, not everyone has little Hyrule on their doorstep, but take advantage of your outdoors for undocked play to get some fresh air while playing, just like Link. Okay, back to actual Hyrule, as one of our recurring biggest gripes with Breath of the Wild was the fragile weapons due to its weapon durability system, and how swords broke far faster than they would in real life. Sadly, this mechanic is back in Tears of the Kingdom, but luckily for all of us, we can fuse, adding extra durability. Though eventually, even these combined weapons, or weapons with materials or weapons plus Zonai items, will break. But there is a solution. Remember this guy from the final trailer? Well, you might want to cancel it, at least until taking advantage of it, as he is the prime example of the 20th Zelda game's many quality of life improvements, but when nothing is told about nearly any of them in the game itself. Pairing badly damaged weapons and shields. Here you have one of the biggest gripes from the previous game addressed, and you don't tell the player about it. Great for tips YouTubers, but awful for the regular gamer who will quickly kill these guys instead of dropping our badly damaged tools of offense or defense for repair. Naturally, it has limitations. 1 repair per Rock Octorok for each Blood Moon cycle, so after it is done repairing, you can crush it with recall. Now we have to talk about the audio of Tears of the Kingdom. And my recommendation to get some really good headphones, as Tears of the Kingdom has even better organic sound design and soundtrack than Breath of the Wild. If you don't like to have your hair messed up like Link, then get some solid wireless earbuds. Or take advantage of VITURE's audio system with premium sound by Harman. And while we're talking about improving your experience, play this game with the Switch Pro controller. Tears of the Kingdom is just better this way. Let's go over Zonai vehicle devices. They disintegrate if you move too far from your starting point. But what if you call another one out? Well, that is exactly what you can do with the gliding wing to keep gliding, potentially to the next province depending on how many you bring with you. But yes, pull your glider out so you don't fall down. But before you do so, also your paraglider, or you will fall straight through. Now over to shields. Since you have more of them than you need, well, why not fuse one of them to a two-handed weapon? All to grant your weapon both defensive and offensive qualities. It was promoted in the final trailer for a reason, so use it, as this gives you a powerful punch without sacrificing your health, which is especially important when facing stronger opponents. Eventually, you will not have to make these sorts of choices, as you will have single-handed weapons that are stronger than claymores. But early on, this combo is not a bad idea, especially since you now also know how to repair them at the Rock Octorok's one-time repairs. Well, at least for each Blood Moon. Anyway, we're not done with shields, but first let's get another real-life tip for this game. Get a screen protector if you play undocked. We have one more best way to play this game in real life, but first a few more in-game. Or more specifically, with shields, as they have seen a great upgrade for traversal, namely rail surfing. But there's more apart from rocket shields which replace Rivali's scale, and this one is naturally perfect for vertical exploration and combat situations. Since horses are only available from stables, but with a minecart or Zonai cart, you can fuse and create a proper skateboard to get around the surface faster. And best of all, it is surprisingly fast down any steep hill or even relatively flat surface. I love this one, and luckily we can repair it at the Rock Octorok. Though in this particular case, losing a minecart or even a cart isn't a big loss. Losing a more valuable monster horn or material like, say, a precious diamond is far worse. So once again, the Zelda team thought of everything, but didn't tell us where. Well, I will say Akala, and then you can figure out who is offering this divorce service without breaking the attached part, and where his services are offered. Hint, it is an individual from a tribe from a nearby province. But for real, Zonai items were made for fusing to our shields. Fans, flame emitters, and naturally OP explosive cannons, which look so badass coming out of the dragon mouths. For real, the worst you can do in this game is to leave your shield the way it is, as it is the ultimate tool for non-Sky Island directed exploration, but also tactical combat. Since you can attach puff shrooms, rush shrooms, even a shield on a shield, you name it. And I would say it straight out, one of the best ways to place Tears of the Kingdom, even outside of combat, is with a shield plus something fused to it. Bomb barrels against enemies, but also for high jumps, and the same goes for bomb flowers. Endless combinations and endless possibilities. And we haven't even touched on the insane vehicles, mechs and Korok devices you can build with Ultra Hand. Speaking of, all of those run on energy cells. As before we get back to our last real-life tip, I have one more best way to play Tears of the Kingdom in-game, now and forever. Namely taking full advantage of the world and its characters. One of the best combos being the team-ups with Hyrule's post-Calamity warriors as seen in the final trailer. At least on the surface, but remember, this is a 3-layer gameplay experience, so don't get stuck too long in each of these. So switch between them as much as possible, as this is the only way to get the best Tears of the Kingdom experience. Most of all, you don't stay too long on the surface before going to other layers. But why play this way? As it will give you a far better understanding of the development team's goal. Combinations in absolutely everything, all holding hands, and this vertical game world together. There's just so much to do and much more we can create ourselves, while the Zelda team slowly but surely sets off to create the next Zelda open-air adventure. But I have one last advice and tip to come with in real life, also partially in the game. Do not rush through this game outside of the main quest, since naturally you don't want to get this one spoiled. But for the rest, so side activities, take your time exploring. We are probably 5 to 6 years away from the next open-air Zelda game, and this experience has been developed to last at least a few years to make that wait easier. So don't rush through all the quests in the first 2 months. Take breaks and consume this masterpiece gradually, as that is the way it was designed. And perhaps also take time to play Final Fantasy XVI and Pikmin 4 in the meanwhile. It goes without saying, Tears of the Kingdom is truly special in so many ways, so don't let it end too fast. Even more when playing with the VITURE XR glasses that have made my Tears of the Kingdom experience even more immersive. Link in the description. But do you have some other best way to play Tears of the Kingdom advice, both in the game and in real life? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. A big thanks as always goes to you for watching until the end, and to all our patreon.com/commemorate patrons, and among them, role producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.